Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar on getting started with Reckon One. My name is John Gajewski and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Reckon, and I'll take you through the very basics of you'll need to know to get started with your Reckon One. Now, just before I get started, if you can just see my screen, getting started with Reckon One, just give me a wave and I'll know things are going okay. Okay, just before we get started, the contents of this webinar is of a general nature and is for guidance only. Reckon does not provide professional or taxation advice. Viewers should consult their professional body or advisor for advice on their specific circumstances. Today, what we'll be looking at is getting started with Reckon One, which will therefore take us through just about all the major parts of the book. So today, what I'm trying to do is get you to understand the logic of the product, where to get started, where to look for help, and move you along. So I'll just get started now and have a look at the program. Okay. When you the portal page, portal.reckon.com, will get you in where you can log in, and when you log in, you come to the portal homepage, which will show you the resources that you have. That's what each of these book tiles are. They are books that I've purchased. Reckon One, of course, is a modular product, so you only pay for the bits that you have paid for, and this is indicated here by these symbols. So you can have a look and see what combination, your book can have any combination, and you can see what is contained in that particular book. Uh, Down the left-hand side, the navigation bar, you'll see the entry to Reckon One, as well as you'll see other products available on this portal and other action points in the portal that you can use. Here on the top right-hand side, this little human icon here is our profile, and this is where you come in and can change major things like your login email address, any details of your name, and multi-factor authentications. There's more elements in here in the account side. So if we just let's compress available products under the account in billing, we have more details we can change, such as the company name, your credit card details, and here in billing history is where you'll see the invoices for your subscription. So they won't be emailed to you, but you can view them here. Now I'll just go back into the Reckon One home screen. Your resources are these tiles that you see here on the Reckon One subscription button. If someone has shared a book to you, which they can do simply by clicking these three dots, share with a user and putting in your Reckon email ID address, they'll be able to share it to you. And when it's shared, you'll see it here under Shared with Me. All these books are shared to me. You'll know that if you click on the three dots, you've only got now the one function, which is merely to unshare. Back on the Reckon One subscription, you'll see your books again. The three dots give you that owner functions to share with other users. Here in the settings, this is where you can come in and do things like change the name, deactivate the subscription, change your modules, and if you wanted to transfer the ownership to another user. So back on here to launch, we simply click on the open button. And initially we will come back into the dashboard, and this can give us a overview of our book. We can change what we see here through the dashboard button, which allows us to pick any number of these widgets to show on the board. And when we've selected those, we can move them around to suit our purposes. Fairly easy. So so that you can present to yourself on your screen things that are important to you about your business. Left-hand side is our navigation bar, and under day-to-day is where you'll see your main transaction entries. Here, money in, money out, and other functions. Below those, we'll see others like your bank accounts. The book already comes with 2 bank accounts created, called My Bank Account and Petty Cash, but you can add as many as you like simply by clicking on the Add button and giving it a name. Now, this red asterisk indicates that this cell is a required cell, so it must be completed for you to move on from this screen. So you just give the bank account a name. You can, if you wish, enter in an opening balance. You enter it here. The program will take care of the journals to enter it into your ledgers. Here in the financial institution details, this is not a strict requirement, but some functions, some reports that are exporting information to banks and other parties may require it, and this is where you'll need to fill in the details. We'll look at that in more detail later on. There are many other functions there. We also have payroll, which is a big area, and we'll spend a little bit of time later on that as well. And importantly, our reports, where we can get a whole series of reports to extract information from our accounts. And finally, in the tax area, where we have a number of tax-related things like your BAS and your transaction payments annual report for or TPA. Now, a couple of things before I actually go further. I'd like to highly recommend these symbols over here, this little question mark. This leads you to our support site. I can strongly suggest you become familiar with this, because anything that you want doing new, particularly when you're learning and starting off and need information, this is where to come to. Click on Reckon One Help Center, and you'll slip into our how-tos and troubleshoots, and here you can go through and find articles relating to what you need to know. They are organized by the left-hand menu, so if we wanted to go to day-to-day and look at see the articles there, where you'll see let's just say we wanted a guide on how to receive money transactions, just call that up and follow it through. So by all means, use this extensively while you're learning, and you'll probably find any questions you have will be answered here. Now, we've got a couple of other things here as well. We've got a YouTube channel you can go to for videos of these various things. We do have a training academy where you can get more information, as well as access the Reckon One certificate course, which is a great way to dive in and learn more about the functions that are there, that are here for you, as well as our contact details in case you need to ring us for technical support or customer service aspects. And for 24/7 support, we have the Reckon community, where you can ask a question, and it is a users helping users. We do monitor it as well, so you'll from time to time get answers there from our technicians. So that's really worthwhile sources of information for you to help you along. Another feature we want to use extensively is here on this little cogwheel here, which opens up administration, and here you can get into the chart of accounts and settings. Quick look at the chart of accounts. The book is created with a small number of ledger accounts to help you get started, but feel free to come in here and create ledger accounts that you may need specific for your business, and if any of these aren't required, you can hide them and delete them. Click the Add button to get started with a new account. Again, look out for the red asterisks. Here we only have one field that needs to be completed. Another one is already completed, which for us. And for instance, we just need to give an account a name, whatever it may be, and that's now ready to be saved. Couple of things to keep in mind here: account type. Make sure you've got the right accounting type for this transaction, for this account, ledger account. And if it's an expense or income account, I strongly suggest you select the correct default, the tax code for it, so that it automatically defaults into your transactions. You'll find a lot of these little things that you can pre-configure, which would help your process of making transactions a lot faster. When done, just click on Save and Close and return to the main screen. Now, as you go through, you'll find that all our input screens will be something like this. They will start off with a summary screen, which will show you existing transactions already entered or items made, and an Add button at the top right to allow you to create a new one. This little spanner here enables you to hide and open up various columns. If they're in green, they're opened. If they, to close them, you would just click on them. That'll be grayed out here and it'll disappear from view. To get it back, I just simply click on again and click on the gray one and it comes back. So, and here on the left-hand side will be a set of tabs. Now these will change from function to function and it'll be something that is relevant to the particular transactions here. This is our chart of accounts and our tabs here are the main accounting categories of the transactions. So yeah, come in here and you can now, the second one here is settings. This is where you can configure the look and feel of the program. So you do have quite a bit of degree in being able to shape that look. So do come in here and explore it. Explore it at your leisure. We won't spend too much time here, but I'd like to also point out that while you're doing transactions and entering other things, you will from time to time see options to create things and drop into settings and do them on the fly. So you do have two choices. You can either come in here and prefigure things before you start, or as you're creating things, doing transactions in the program, at the appropriate time, click the link to create what you need and continue on. So what can we expect here? Well, if we just look into just one simple one, say report settings, here we can configure the reports to show us either on an accrual or cash basis, which is best to use. By all means, please do refer to your accountant or your bookkeeper. They'll help you out with questions like that. We can, for our aging reports on invoices, we can age them either from the transaction date or the due date. When we're creating a report into PDF, we can add in headers and footers. We can put in timestamps. We can put in page numbers. So all this information here you can pre-configure to your needs and desires. To go back, just look at this crumb line over here. We'll just click back on settings and we can quickly look at another one here. Say, for instance, manage invoice templates. Here we can control how our invoices look. We can look at the font, we can look at the template. We've got three sections: a header, the content section, and the footer. Open up one section and what you have are the various fields and a yes and no. Yes, they will appear on the invoice. No, they will not. So select the ones you need. Yes for the ones you really want to see. No for everything else. Here we've got the top one, we've got a custom logo. So we can actually include a logo on your invoices. All you need to do is have the image on your PC and just click on select file, select it, and it will appear there. So there's a whole series of settings, like in day-to-day money in, you've got a feature here to actually create a default bank account. So whenever you do a money transaction, which bank account will be associated with it? When you open the document, you can set that here. Again, these selections are for pre-filling. You're not committed to them, so when you're preparing your document, what was pre-filled, if it needs to be changed, you can do so on the spot there. There are a whole series of other functions, so do by all means do explore them in things like payroll settings. You get full description of your payroll items and places to come in and make certain choices. Yeah, do explore that and create that book to your needs. One of the key ones you will need to look at here is book settings. So this contains a basic information about your business. The second asterisk field here is a reply to email address. When you send an email from this program, it'll go through a generic Reckon email box. People who click on the reply to button on the email received, it'll come to our box and no one monitors that. So here's an opportunity to type in an email for us to forward any reply to emails to, so someone will be able to respond to it. The second box, show emails as being sent from, gives you an opportunity to mask the sender, which is one@reckon.com.au. So you can reset it with either a name or another email address, something that's going to be familiar to your receiver. For the next field, the bank data field, you actually can control the amount of data that's being loaded in from your bank data record, if you have one, into the book. The range there is 1 to 365 days, 60 is a default. Down here in the general details, this becomes very important for STP reporting because this information is contained in that report to the ATO, who use that to check validities and identities. So with the ABN number, your ABN number goes in there. The legal name, that should be exactly as it appears on the ABN register. So go to ABN lookup and copy the entity name as it appears there directly into here. The company name could be any other name this business is known as. Branch number in most cases will be blank. Only put a branch number in there if you are in a business that has more than one reporting channel to the ATO. Same thing, legal address. We need an address in there, and when that's completed, just for security, it's always best to select the state from the drop-down menu rather than typing it in. And also copy it to physical address if it's the same as a physical address. You do want an address in here because if you say doing payroll, your address as appears on the payslip comes from this field. So make sure you get these book settings done correctly before you start. This contacts tab, it's optional. You can go back and fill that in at more convenient times. Okay, let's get back and just go back to the dashboard and let's start and have a look more closely in how do we do a transaction. For instance, over here in day-to-day, let's say, let's have a look at creating an invoice. As I said, most of our import screens are much the same, and whether it be an invoice, inward invoice, outward invoice, a receive money, or make a payment, you'll see much the same sort of things. So here is our, we're in invoices, and these are a table of invoices already issued. We see here on the left-hand side how we can change the appearance here. We could say perhaps look at just unpaid invoices or overdue invoices or paid invoices. So these options around here will be relevant to whatever transaction we're showing here. Click on Add to start a new transaction, and you're presented with a default form. Again, the first thing to do is look at our asterisks. They're the minimum fields that must be completed. So we've got an invoice date, which is today. We need to enter a customer, so we can select it from the drop-down menu. When you start, you probably have nothing in here, so always just look to the bottom, entry not here. You can add a customer. So we can immediately drop into our contacts and start adding a customer. And what we do need is a display name. It's just repeating that into the customer name, and that's all we need. All this other detail can be finished later. If you're invoicing, you do want to get that email in as soon as possible. When that's done, also notice in the type, it's been selected as a customer, but we could also make it a supplier as well. So a contact can be both a customer and supplier. And just click on Add when you're finished, and we will drop back to where we started. And now we can continue on and complete the invoice. For instance, payment terms, we can click the drop down. We've already got a few created. If we want to create our own, by all means, we can drop into add pay item and create one. Notice here, we've also got a tick for a default. So you can create a new payment term and make that your default. So, the due date will follow from your payment item. And we've got other fields which are optional. Here in the table, this is where we now enter the details of our transactions. Now we can do that by entries either by an item or an account. An account is your ledger account, and you'll see a listing from your chart of accounts. Items is another item. They're very useful to use for invoices because they're a little bit more descriptive for your client as to what the item is. These items do get linked to a ledger account, so they get properly posted into your ledgers. Now we can just continue on and complete this line. To the left, we can see we've got a projects column. So if we had activated the projects module, as we have here, we get to see that. If we haven't activated projects, the column won't be seen. Services date is something that is associated with invoices medium. If you have elected invoices light, you will not see the service date. Just go through and complete the other lines. We've got the item price is pre-filled from the item itself. If for a reason it's different, that's not a problem. We can go in and change it here. Now, changing it here will not change the item in its item setup. It'll only change it for this particular use. So if we were to make that wanting that to have a permanent change, we can drop back into our items and make the change there. Quantities, well, we can handle quantities here. Let's just say we did 5 of those. Click in the white space and we get the amounts have been calculated. And since this item had a tax code assigned, it's calculated the tax. Now, if that tax code had to be changed, we could go through and select the appropriate code. What the appropriate codes are, please talk to your accountants and bookkeepers and they'll be able to guide you. We also have a discount here. Now, this is what we call a line discount. So, for instance, we just wanted to discount having a special on just this one item, so 25% off. We could put that 25% off, and the line total will be changed. Okay, and then below we've got our subtotal. Now, we notice there's a discount here, and it's 0. That's because this discount line actually refers to this invoice discount. So this invoice discount will discount the entire invoice. Here, this discount item is just for this one particular line, and it adjusts the amount, and that drops into your subtotal, and it is not reflected in this discount line. Only this invoice discount will be reflected there. I'll just put in 10% there. So we've got one line. Maybe we can do a second item. Maybe do another sandwiches. We've entered that in. We've now got a subtotal. Our invoice discount is 10%, and that's what that discount line shows. And now we have three totals here: a net total, a tax total, and a gross total. We've got capacity here to write in notes to our customers, and we also have a capacity there for putting in our payment details. This payment detail field is something that needs to be switched on in the settings. So when that's all done, we can save this invoice. Now we do have a number of options here, and we've got save. We've got three save options: save and close, save, and save and new. Saving new will give us a blank form. Save and close will take us to the summary. A plain save will leave us on this invoice, which we'll select at this time. Okay, so we now have a saved invoice, and these are the details, and we can see we've got a new line appear here with more options. These are worth exploring, particularly if we want to send this invoice, we can click on send via email and send that off. If things aren't complete, you'll find you'll get error messages coming up. As our ID did not have an invoice, did not have an email address, so there is nothing here, so we can always type it in. You can add other people onto that as well. And a small default message is given there, which you can change here if you wish. The invoice itself is attached to the email, and you can view it here. Just click on invoice, and you will see the invoice as the client will see it. If you want to print it out, just click on print, and it calls up your print options. You can download it to your PC for permanent storage, so on. I won't send that now, so just close. So we also have a recurring feature. Say, for instance, this is one that happens every week, every month or something. You can get the program to do it automatically for you. Just give it a name, set the parameters of frequency, start date, end date. And you do have the option of that an email is automatically emailed when it's that the invoice is automatically emailed when it's completed. So that's great. So do look for that where it's relevant for you. We can always delete it, and say, for instance, if we can make a copy of this. So if you're in a situation where you've got the same invoice going out to multiple different customers, you can just hit copy, change the customer name, save, and go on, and help you just reduce that functionality. Eventually this invoice will be paid, and there's two ways you can do that. We can click on the receive payment button here on the top right and complete the details there, or the other way is we can go through, I'll just go save and close first, or we can go through receive money. So that's what I'll do on this occasion, receive money. Again, you'll see very similar forms. The tab's slightly different now. We click on add to start a new transaction. So we'll do that, and we'll say today's date, and we'll select a contact. Now the contact was me. Just find me and click in the white space, and what you'll see here is our bank account is defaulted to what was selected. We can change it if we wish. And down here we've got an allocate tab, and we can see an unpaid invoice will show up in this table. So any unpaid invoices will appear here, and you can then select which one is being paid. So for instance, we have 432, and we can just type in how much to allocate. We just click in there and it'll copy the balance owing. Now, say for instance, only a partial payment was being made, we can overwrite that, and that's fine. And we can click on save and close and take care of that payment. Okay, so we can see we've received a payment here for $200. If we go back into our invoices table, we'll see the entry for this invoice. Right. Let's make sure this is. Okay, and we should. I'm surprised. We should have seen the invoice in here. Not quite sure what's happened, but let me just explain this screen again. You'll have a total amount owing and a balance owing. So if you do a partial payment, you will see that the balances will be different. On these little drop downs, you get other functionality. We got sort by functions, ascending or descending, and we got filters. If we look for me, let me see if we can find me here and click on the search button, and we're not here. That's rather interesting. I'm not sure what's happened there. We've got the receipt here, and we can see that the entry is certainly in there. We'll have to look for that one later and move on. So that's how we can enter simple transactions. You'll find other transactions are very, very similar. With a more convenient way of entering transactions is actually through your bank accounts. We have the display of the bank accounts here shows a square for each month. A green one is showing that there are transactions in there. Black ones are showing the none. That gives us other functions that we can do. If we click on the square on the Heritage Bank, for instance, and we can see the transactions here. We have a feature called Bank Data, or Connect to Your Bank. It is a very convenient way to get your bank transactions into the book, so that each morning when you wake up, you see the latest transactions that the bank has processed, and here you can just allocate them to your ledgers. To do that, all you need to click on Add. You need the Bank Data module, and then here you can click on Add and select the bank. You'll be asked to usually fill out a form, but by all means follow the instructions that are given to you at the end of the process, so you get it correctly requested. Once here, you can link it to a particular bank account, so that the information of this particular bank feed goes to this particular bank account. And what happens is when you click over here to bank transactions, you see it across the top here as well, you can see the transactions that have been received for that account. I've got transaction account, let's get that one. Bank feeds, and we can see the outstanding transaction. We've got a manual upload here, so through a manual upload, you can not rely on a bank feed, which is an extra module, but you can create a list of transactions on your bank website, save them to a QAF or a CSV file, and then import that file here, and get the transactions in that way. So you've got the option, and follow the one that you would prefer. But when you get to this point, you will find that the functionality is the same. So with bank feeds or connect to your bank, what you're paying for is that convenience of it being delivered to you automatically. And from here, you just now need to allocate the transaction. Now, we can do so by, these are the options that we have for a transaction. So we can go allocate payment. And when you go to allocate payment, we can drop to a full form, or if everything's correctly set up, we can do a shortcut and just select the supplier and the relevant ledger account, whatever it may be, and click on accept. Now, a quicker way would be that since many transactions are pretty repetitive, we've got a transaction rule. So we can always set up a rule. Oh, I'll just go back. Transactions again, sorry. Just go into, while that's opening up, we'll just open up that transaction account. Yep, here we go. Right. You've got a create rule function here. When you click on that, it will bring us our transaction rule form and populate from the bank with the information. Now here, we should go through and just simplify things, give it a name, find a keyword to look for to identify this transaction. So anything that's variable, take out, and you do want to make them simple. Description has all of these words. There are different ways you can search for it, but the most secure way is all of these words. So any transaction with those words will have this rule applied. If that's not enough to uniquely identify this transaction, you've got other categories you could apply. We can just come through and create a receipt, set it to a contact and give it a description. And in the final section, we can allocate it to a particular account. So let's have a look what this one was about. So let's just put this to a sales account, set the tax code and a percentage of 100. We can split it up to two accounts. Just click on add new row, put the second account in and adjust the percentages. So when this is all done, the transaction will be created and anything that matches that rule will now be highlighted. So when you start creating a number of rules, you get you'll get what you see here is a number of transactions highlighted. Now all we need to do is just click accept on the right hand side to enter that into the ledger accounts. Where you have multiples, you can always click on this accept auto matched. That will accept all the transactions that are highlighted, and you're now just left with a shorter list to deal with. Always consider, can we make a transaction rule? If we can, we do that. Otherwise, we just allocate them manually. So when we've done these transactions, of course, we put transactions in so we can get some information, and that's what you get in the reporting. So if we go to our report center, we can get our basic financial reports. We can change this category and pick tax reports, payroll reports, a whole series of different sorts of reports. So we can go to our customers report, where we'll get to see an aged debtors report and see what is outstanding over different periods of time. And it just helps you manage your business better. If you want a report that you're going to look at frequently, you can make it a favorite so it appears in your left-hand navigation bar. When you open up a report, you do have reporting period options. You can change these to any number of set defined periods, all the dates, or set your own parameters. Here in comparison period, you can compare, like this report. It won't appear on every report, but you can compare it to some other period. I got this financial year. Well, let's make that last financial year. Click on refresh, and we now got a comparison of this year to last year. So check out all these different features that you can do. There's more options here to show more options. You can show more or fewer columns. Let's show the variance in dollars as well. These reports, there's about 40 in all, are here to help you extract valuable information about your business that's contained in those transactions. So do explore those. Notice we've also got a budget, so you can create budgets here as well. This create budgets from scratch or based on previous year's data. Terrific. The last thing here is on the tax side, we can the BAS report will extract the values, the information out of your transactions and fill in the details of your BAS lodgement. In not all cases can the number be extracted, and in those you've got an open box where you can put in the relevant number. Now you might want to use your reports and things like reports on accounts, account entries to work out what that figure should be. And at the end of the day, bring them all together to what you owe the ATO or perhaps what they owe you. That brings together that series of transactions from the original entry through the various ways you may want to process them, through to the reporting where you can see added value about your business, through to compliance reporting like your business activity statement. Yeah, that's about the total of the transaction processing. And now to finish off, what I'd like to have a look at is look at the very quickly at the payroll area. Now the payroll is a fairly large program that's multi-leveled, so yes, you will do prepare yourself, make sure you have all the relevant information, details about the employer, the employees, their pay structure. And you can configure this to report on any payroll situation you may find. The essence of it comes through pay items, and this is where you can define how you pay people in terms of ordinary time earnings, through allowances, through deductions, superannuation, or any other pays. We've created about 24 items, so in most cases it's all ready to go, ready for you to use. But if not, you've got that ad again. Notice that it's the same format we've seen on other import forms, a summary table of what we have, relevant items here, and to categorize the display, and our add button on the right. And click on the add, where we can actually define our own pay item. If what we need's not already configured, we just go through and create one. And we've got the basic format here, so we just need to make selections from the relevant fields, like is it an ordinary time earnings item, an overtime, a variable, a termination. What you select will vary what you see below. Yeah, so there will be minor changes, so that is normal. Give it a name. In this case, it's an overtime, so we are asked for a rate multiplier. Is it 1.2, 1.25, 1.5, double time? We do 1.25, we can put a rate multiplier of 1.25. And what this will do is identify the ordinary time earnings item, base item, and take its rate and times it by 1.25 to work out the overtime rate. As you go on, you can select the account that it's going to be paid to, so like it's going to be payroll expenses. If you just type into the field, you will get a shortened menu option of what available accounts there. If it's there, you can just select it. If not, click on add an account to create it. Lots of salaries, other, okay. And if this item accrues leave, you can tick that and its use will add to your accrued leave. If not, leave it blank. Tax applicable, you can assign the correct tax treatment of this item, whether it be tax-free gross payments or some other category. And finally, is this item superable? So not all payer items are superable, but if they are, they need to be ticked. So we'll tick it for reportable super for salary sacrifice. What's super guarantee? What's this reportable super? We'll leave that one out. And when it's done, just click save and close and it'll be created. The second thing we do need is to have a look at the setup of items, the setup, payroll setup. We do need a legal contact, which is essentially the person doing the payroll and its contact details in the event that the ATO needs to contact the person about some issue. There are other settings here which are optional. Fill them out as you need them. One thing I want to draw you to at the bottom, the bank accounts, you can set different bank accounts with different type of payments. So you can just choose whichever a bank account is appropriate for that type of payment. They could all be the same as they are here. Automatic payments, this is by default ticked. What this does is it creates the natural payroll process will create a journal for the to affect the ledger accounts. With this item ticked, it'll also create an entry into your bank ledger account to record the net pay to the employee. If you don't want to have that item created, like for instance, it's because you're downloading bank data, for instance, just untick that and all that will happen is that the journal will be created. It'll be posted only, but if you tick that, it'll show up as paid as well. Okay, so when that's all done, we can then slip into super funds. We do, with superannuation, we do need to create an entry for the super fund that each employee has. And in that super fund, we can configure it to link into the APRA database to extract the information about the fund products and their USIs. So make sure you enter in the super funds for that are being used by all your employees. And then click on employees, and here we can create an employee record. Just click on add and get started, and what we'll see is basic personal information, name, address. Same rules apply for addresses as we talked before. When you save it, you'll get these additional tabs where you get personal data, where we can enter in their date of birth. In the employment tab, we can put in their details of their employment. For SDP, employee number is important. Every person has to have a number, don't forget. And their pay frequencies and schedules, important dates like their hire date. Then go on into a tax tab, which we can define their tax situation, enter in their tax details, their state of living, the type of worker they are, resident or foreign, and the tax scale that's going to apply. This can be modified by things to the right-hand side here, like subject to STSL or the old HEXDET, to kick in the additional taxes that need to be taken out. You can vary the Medicare levy that's going to be charged as well if the person has that. Also, there's a field here we can put in a tax offset or extra tax if they apply. In the leave tab, we can set up to track leave, both what they accrue and what they take, to see what their available balance is. And finally, with the Pay Setup tab, what we can do here is create the basic template for that employee's pay. This is what's going to appear on their pay run at every use. We can then modify it later in the pay run. So essentially here we're looking for the items that will appear at every pay run, and then during the pay run we'll just add in items that are relevant to that particular pay run. So when that's all complete, we're all ready to go and we can do a pay run. It's fairly simple. We've just got an add button again, so we can generate a pay run, and when it's created, we can add in employees. We can use a scheduling factor, which will do that automatically. And we can now see what's been populated in from the employee payroll tabs. And if an adjustment is required, we can open it up and make whatever adjustment need be. Say, for instance, let's see, we'll get some information coming in here. Say, for instance, this employee worked a little overtime. We can go add new row, put in his overtime. We have, let's say it's time and a half. And let's say they worked 5 hours overtime that week. You can see how the rate has taken the ordinary rate and applied the factor, time and a half factor, to come up with the pay rate for this overtime rate, and it will calculate the amount and add it in. We can, scrolling down, make any other changes. He's got a car allowance here. Say, for instance, if this didn't apply this particular week, we could just click the X here to take it out. If anything else needed to be added, we can just certainly just go in, add new row. Got a super guarantee being calculated, fantastic. And we've got a tax section here. Now, the program will calculate the correct rate of tax according to the parameters you set up. So if at any stage you think that that tax amount is wrong, do have a close look at your setups. In some situations, it is required to change that tax amount, and you've got the details button on this side here, and you can write in the appropriate amount. We have a little box here which says 1 at the moment. So this is very convenient when, say, you're paying holiday leave in advance, that this amount here isn't in fact one week's pay, but say 2 or 3, you can change it accordingly, and the tax rate will be adjusted accordingly to reflect that that is 2 weeks' pay and not 1 week's pay. And finally, at the bottom, you'll see the totals come up for this amount. And you can check those, and when you're happy with the correctness, you're done with the pay. And it's just a matter of then scrolling up to the top, and we can progress on to the next one, or if we're finished, we can just click on close. We'll just wait for that to finish. Saving. I'm not sure why it's taking so long today. Oh, there we go, and we can always review the totals there. These totals are ones that will appear on the summary screen. So if we're done, we can just click and move on to the next employee. And when we're done, click on close. And we're back to the summary screen. And when we're ready to go, just click on actions and finish pay run. And that will complete the pay. That will also create an entry here in Single Touch Payroll, and from there we can send that on to the ATO. So that completes the basic payroll process. In reporting, you do have a category for payroll reports. By all means, it gets used a lot. It contains some very good information for quick seeing and seeing how your employees are being paid. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our time. If there are any questions, I'll have a look at them and offer you an answer. But for the time being, I'm just going to drop back into my presentation. And just to finish off, just other things that you might want to keep in mind. If you're migrating from another piece of from another software, we do have a migration service that can help you get your information across into the Reckon One book, just to make that process easier. We do have a training academy. I mentioned that earlier before, and YouTube channels and a community site. So by all means, they are great resources that you can use at any time, 24/7. So do utilize them to help you along. And finally, if you do need high-level support, we do have a series of partners who have become expert in the program, and you can go to our partner search page, the Reckon partner search page, and find people in your area, partnersearch.com.au, partnersearch.reckon.com, and find people in or near your area who will be able to help you out. So there don't seem to be any questions. So thank you very much for attending today's session. If you do have any questions, by all means get in touch with us on our emails, customerservice@reckon.com, and we'll get an answer back to you. Thank you very much, and bye for now.